by making films, and he really had a lot of energy, and I guess there's the other Stevie Wonder, not the one who's here tonight, but.
Michael J. Fox nearly lost his life on a movie set, and yet few people ever talk about it. While filming Back to the Future Part 3, a hanging stunt went terribly wrong when the rope cut off blood flow to his brain. He dangled unconscious for several seconds before director Robert Zemeckis realized what was happening and ordered him cut down. That brush with death, terrifying as it was, became just one chapter in a story defined not only by risk and triumph, but also by a secret battle he fought for years while the world cheered his success. Michael J. Fox was working 18-hour days, smiling for the cameras, and carrying the weight of a devastating diagnosis that threatened to end his career before it truly began. His story is one of grit, heartbreak, and perseverance, one that continues to inspire millions. Michael Andrew Fox was born on June 9, 1961 in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. His father, William Fox, was a career soldier in the Royal Canadian Corps of Signals, while his mother, Phyllis, worked as a payroll clerk but quietly harbored a love for acting. His childhood was shaped by two forces, the rigid order of military life and the creative spark he inherited from his mother. Growing up as an Army brat meant moving constantly. Because of his father's 25-year career, the Fox family relocated again and again, living in cities like North Bay and Chilliwack. By the time Michael was a preteen, he had already lived in 5 different places. Always being the new kid forced him to adapt quickly, read situations fast, and use humor as a way to make friends. Though it was a challenging life, it sharpened the quick wit that would later define him. When his father retired in 1971, the family finally settled in Burnaby, British Columbia, giving Michael his first taste of stability just as he entered his teenage years. Like so many Canadian boys, Fox first dreamed of a career in professional ice hockey. Inspired by legends like Bobby Orr, he poured himself into the sport with fierce determination. But while his teammates grew taller and stronger, Michael stopped growing at just 5 foot 4 inches. His size made competing at an elite level impossible, and he was forced to let go of his NHL dream. It was a crushing blow, but in losing hockey, he opened the door to a new future, one where his height would prove an advantage rather than a barrier. Fox had already been teaching himself guitar and playing in garage bands, but in high school he discovered something unexpected: drama class. In 1976, at only 15 years old, a teacher noticed his natural comedic timing and encouraged him to audition for a new sitcom on the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. The show, Leo and Me, needed a small actor to play a 10-year-old boy. Suddenly, the very trait that ended his hockey career, his small stature, became the reason he was chosen. That audition changed everything. Despite having almost no professional experience, Michael landed the role, and with it, his first real paycheck as an actor. He played Jamie, the younger brother in the family. And though the show ran only 2 seasons, it marked the beginning of his career. By 1978, Fox was appearing in television movies such as Letters from Frank, where he portrayed a troubled teen grappling with his father's alcoholism. Casting directors began to request him by name, a rarity for someone so young. He earned about $1,500 per episode, a small fortune for a teenager at the time. At just 17, Canadian magazines were already featuring him as a rising star. That same year, he took on a role that would change how he thought about acting. At Vancouver's Phoenix Theatre, he joined the stage production of The Shadow Box, playing a young man dying of cancer. The Pulitzer Prize-winning play dealt with themes of mortality and grief, and at only 18, Michael was the youngest cast member by a decade. For 6 weeks, he performed 8 shows a week, earning just $200 weekly. Though the pay was meager compared to television, critics praised his vulnerability and depth, and Fox realized acting could be more than a job. It could be an art form that demanded courage and honesty. That revelation emboldened him to take the biggest gamble of his young life. At 18, he turned down steady Canadian roles, packed his things, and moved to LA with only $500 in savings and no connections. Hollywood was merciless. His agent warned him that the industry rarely welcomed unknowns, especially not someone so short. Fox found a tiny apartment in West Hollywood for $200 a month and survived on bologna sandwiches and day-old bread. The phone stopped ringing, his debts mounted, and by 1981, he was $30,000 in the hole, pawning off furniture piece by piece to pay rent. He later admitted that at one point he survived on rice alone and fainted from hunger during a shoot. Still, he refused to quit. His first film break came with Disney's Midnight Madness in 1980, where he played a bratty college kid. The film flopped, and Fox called the role the lowest point of his career.
But just 2 years later, a single phone call would change everything. On August 20th, 1982, when broke and close to eviction, he learned he had been cast as Alex P. Keaton in the NBC sitcom Family Ties. The part, which paid $5,000 an episode, saved him from collapse. The show, originally intended to focus on liberal ex-hippie parents, quickly shifted to spotlight his character, the briefcase-carrying teenage conservative. Within a year, the sitcom was drawing 30 million viewers each week. Fox won 3 Emmys back-to-back in 1986 to 1988 and a Golden Globe in 1989. What began as a lifeline quickly became the launch pad for his stardom. That launch reached new heights when Fox was cast in Back to the Future. Originally, the role of Marty McFly went to Eric Stoltz, but director Robert Zemeckis felt Stoltz's performance was too serious. After 5 weeks of shooting, Stoltz was replaced with Fox, who then worked grueling double shifts, days on Family Ties and nights on Back to the Future. For 2 months, he averaged only 3 to 4 hours of sleep, at times so exhausted that he mistook props for real objects. Yet the effort paid off. Released in 1985, the film earned nearly $400 million worldwide and became a cultural phenomenon, cementing Michael J. Fox as one of Hollywood's brightest stars. Through the late 1980s and 1990s, his career soared with hits like Teen Wolf, The Secret of My Success, Casualties of War, and Doc Hollywood. He showed a remarkable ability to shift from comedy to heavy drama, with critics praising him for roles that displayed depth and intensity. By 1991, however, his life took a devastating turn. While filming Doc Hollywood, Fox noticed a twitch in his left pinky finger. At only 29 years old, he was diagnosed with early-onset Parkinson's disease. For years, he hid the diagnosis, masking his tremors with carefully timed medication, props, and rehearsed movements. Off-camera, he struggled with depression and alcohol, at one point admitting he was definitely an alcoholic. With the support of his wife, actress Tracy Pollan, and their children, he gave up drinking in 1992 and has remained sober ever since. Still, he kept his illness a secret until December 1998, when he revealed the truth on the cover of People magazine. Fans and colleagues rallied behind him, and instead of derailing his career, the news deepened the connection he shared with the public. By then, Fox had already launched Spin City, a sitcom that earned him 3 Golden Globes and an Emmy. But as Parkinson's advanced, he stepped away from the series in 2000 and turned his focus towards advocacy. That same year, he founded the Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's Research, which has since raised over $2 billion to fund groundbreaking studies. By 2023, it was funding more Parkinson's research than the U.S. government itself, leading to major breakthroughs, including a test that can detect the disease with 93% accuracy, a discovery hailed as the biggest since the introduction of levodopa in 1967. Even as his symptoms worsened, Fox continued to act selectively, winning an Emmy for Rescue Me and appearing in acclaimed roles on The Good Wife, Curb Your Enthusiasm, and Boston Legal. He also built a literary career, authoring 5 best-selling memoirs, including Lucky Man and No Time Like the Future. His audiobooks earned multiple Grammy nominations, with Always Looking Up winning Best Spoken Word Album. His writing revealed not only his humor and resilience, but also the raw struggles of living with Parkinson's for more than 30 years. In January 2025, Michael J. Fox received the Presidential Medal of Freedom from President Joe Biden, honored for his resilience and his work as a fearless advocate for patients worldwide. That same year, he surprised fans by returning to acting in the Apple TV Plus series Shrinking, reuniting with his Spin City co-creator. Later in the year, he will release his 5th book, Future Boy, Back to the Future and My Journey Through the Space-Time Continuum, a memoir reflecting on the year that changed his life, 1985. Now 64 years old, Fox admits living with Parkinson's is harder each day. He's spoken candidly about frequent falls and the loss of mobility, yet he has never lost his humor or optimism. His wife Tracy Pollan remains his constant partner, while friends like Ryan Reynolds describe him as someone who falls because he's unafraid to fly. More than just an actor, Michael J. Fox has become a symbol of perseverance, optimism, and unyielding hope. His foundation continues to drive research at an unprecedented scale, and his life story reminds us that even in the face of relentless challenges, courage and optimism can light the way forward.